right, and welcome to Meathead Chatter. I'm still here, and we have a new co-host and my business partner. Say hello.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
This is Tyler Pruitt. He looks like a little bitch, but he's actually pretty awesome. And this is episode number 46.
How long has it been since 45?
I don't even want to talk about that. Hold on, let me see. End of July.
All right.
So hopefully we'll string together at least another 20 or so before we start screwing up again and doing that. Hold on, I'm gonna shift around so that I can see you and I'm not like looking over my shoulder.
I think it'll definitely be easy to chain some together. We spend too much time together.
Yeah. Cool. Well, hey, so many new things since last time we did an episode. Tyler, tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and we're going to go into what we're doing now and what things are going on.
So a little bit about me. I have been in the Army for 7 years. I just got out 1 year ago, essentially. Got out in February 23. In my time in the Army, I did the infantry thing for the first 3.5 years, and then the last 3.5 years I actually got into a gym called the Tactical Athlete Performance Center down at Fort Benning, Georgia. It's now known as Fort Moore. And I was doing some strength and conditioning coaching for the soldiers down there from lowest ranking to highest ranking. I actually got to work with the Secretary of the Army and teach him how to deadlift, and he even gave me knucks, so that was pretty cool.
Nice.
So in that time, I kind of fell in love with strongman right before I got to that spot, so it was kind of like a giant culminating event. I got really into strongman, then I showed up to Fort Benning, and they're like, hey, you're going to be a strength and conditioning coach, so it was like perfect timing. And then COVID happened, but I still got to compete. And in 2021, I coached my wife to get her pro strongwoman card.
Hell yeah.
And as a lightweight, she almost legitimately died cutting weight.
So she sucks at strongman, is I guess what we're getting at.
I think she can outpress everyone at our gym.
Yeah, she's a monster.
And then in 2022, everyone was talking shit to me that I was carrying my wife's purse, and I was pretty much her bitch. So I had to turn around and get my pro card, and I won nationals in 2022. Like I said, I just got out of the Army in February 23 and spent a little time doing some personal training. I'm still in the National Guard doing some recruiting stuff here in Indiana. And then I met this lovely asshole Dan at the old gym we were at that we shall not name. And
this old weak son of a bitch.
And he was contemplating moving away and opening and starting a gym down a little bit of ways away from where we're at now. And I just pitched him the idea like, hey, dude, we are the motherfuckers here in Lafayette, Indiana, so why don't we do what we're doing now? And that is
Premeditated Health and Performance, open as of December 1, and kicking ass, taking names ever since, man. It's a good spot, man. I'm pretty stoked. If you guys are in the area, you definitely 100% need to fucking come check it out. Yeah, so that's what's going down here. And I was talking the other day, just like the vibe of this gym is so different than a lot. Like if y'all have done like CrossFit gyms, you kind of get like that everybody's homies vibe. It's a little like that. I was sitting here the other day, and Steven. So Steven is like this, as blue collar as fuck as you can be. Like he's got like the Viking like undercut thing going on with like long hair.
It's like a mohawk, but
just
it's 14
like
inches long.
Like I guarantee he was like a Trumpy Trump voter. Like he's the deplorable man. Like he's that level of person. Which hell yeah, more power to you. Whatever.
We have a Bluetooth speaker that our members can connect to, and every time he connects, it's
like Tom McDonald like political rap. Which I like. I bet him and I align quite a bit on political things to some degree, at least.
Easily.
But then we have another member, and they're LGBTQ whatever plus things. She's dating a trans person, and I see her and Steven just like hamming it up, talking shit about like log lifts and strongman, and so that is like my favorite fucking thing about like barbell sports and strength sports is it's like no one gives a shit about all that stuff that the world tells you should like hate each other for. We're like, oh, you like to fucking bench? I like to fucking bench too. Let's be homies. Like, it was just a moment where I was like, oh, fuck, this is what the world should be, man.
No,
yeah,
I definitely.
It was super badass.
I definitely agree. that was kind of the vibe that was down in Georgia, and that's what I wanted this place to be, and I'm so glad it is. Because down in Georgia, I was at this gym called Body Evolution, and it had about 200 members. It was probably a 10,000 square foot space, and they would have like cookouts every month, trunk or treat for Halloween.
Hell
like
yeah.
everyone was buddies, and like everyone had each other's back. You saw each other at the supermarket, and you're like, hey, what's up? How's training going? Like, it was amazing down there, and that's what I wanted to bring up here, and I think we're nailing that.
I feel like nowadays, like I feel like the biggest struggle for people, right? Like, is human interaction, finding shit in common. Like, we're so glued to our phones. It's so easy to never leave your room and just like do online shit that like people miss that. Like, it used to be, back in the days, I would say churches was probably the main community piece for people in an area to get together and hang out. And then with like kind of the decline of like organized church attendance and stuff like that, that kind of faded away. And then with the increase of all the technology stuff, like people just don't go out anymore. And it's like, if you don't want to go hang out at a bar to meet random people to try to fucking hang out with, like, what are you left with? Like, there's nothing. And I think it's so cool that like a gym can be, the church of fucking iron, you come in here and have people that you automatically have like at least one thing in common with that you guys can vibe on, and then you'll probably, be homies.
Yeah, for sure. And then also so we do a lot of personal training in our gym as well. We have quite a few really, really good personal trainers, Dan and I included. And
yeah, we're the best.
That's another piece to the pie that I think helps our place grow so much, is because like people take our coaching and they get to know us not only as persons but like as coaches, and then they see the results almost instantaneously, like within a matter of weeks, and like their lives are changed. So I think that's another big piece that we got going for us as well. And then when we start getting the holistic approach with some physical therapists and stuff in here, I think it'll be a really good gym environment and place to be.
So that's what we've been up to, and it's been fucking good. And
when did we first link up? I think it was like October 26th.
October 26th was when we first had a discussion about like you were wanting to potentially come on as an owner for the previous gym that we were at. And I was like, dude, I don't know, 4 owners, we don't make enough money for that to make sense to anybody. And then, from then we kind of talked shop and figured out, if it'd be possible to buy that gym.
Damn near 1 month to the day.
Yeah.
later.
So it took us like a month from like, hey, what do you think about this, to like, well, what could we actually do, to being in here on a lease, like rolling. So that's cool. And we're trending decent. I'd love for it to be, much more successful than it is, but we've only been here a month.
Yeah. No, so. I was on the phone with my dad the other day, and it was the 9th. So a few days ago or a couple days ago. And I was like, Dad, we've been open 40 days. And
we're at 73 members right now?
73 members and like 500 followers on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was just so quick.
We're doing good shit, and we're doing good shit because we did like one ad for like a specific program we were doing, but really it's like word of mouth from our members. Like, word of mouth will blow your gym up, or if you suck, it'll like cripple you.
Right.
And
I mean, the moment people come in here on that first day, they're like, dude, this is such a nice place. And that's what I was going to say earlier. I lived with a buddy of mine there towards the last 6 months I was in the Army. My wife moved home. She's a teacher. And so I was living with a buddy of mine named Tyler Franklin, and he had a really nice garage gym, and him and I would get some of the best sessions in there. And I think that's another vibe that we bring to people. It's like, 1, we have that community piece. 2, everyone's cool with each other. And 3, it feels like home. Like, we don't have this giant place. It's 4,000 square feet split up into 2,000 square foot spots, essentially, with a wall right in the middle. And so people get that like home gym vibe, and like they can play their music, and we're here all the time. So it's like those relationships are just good.
I love that inadvertently having that Bluetooth speaker that people can just hook up to has caused like massive amounts of shit talk, and then by default relationship building, because people like put some stuff on there like, who's this? And they're like, oh, it's me. They're like, I like it. Or they're like, this fucking sucks. Your music taste is horrible. But then they start like bantering and chatting. Like, it's just fun to like sit back in my office and like eavesdrop on shit that's going on in the gym. I love it.
Oh, for sure.
Heck yeah.
What else we got going on? We got a strongman competition coming up. March 16th for St. Patty's Day. It's going to be called the Leprechaun Liftoff.
Winners get kilts. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be dope.
That would be cool.
That's more Scottish than Irish.
But we do have some pretty cool champion medals being made. We are looking to get some vendors out here. There's a couple food truck ideas we're getting. So I just want to not only have a strongman competition, but have something that people are driving by like, what the fuck's going on over there? I'm going to pull in and see what's going on. So that's kind of the goal. And then what are you going to be directing?
I got a powerlifting meet coming up in June the 22nd. Summer Solstice Showdown. Tried to make another S, but it ended up being an SH. So whatever. Yeah. Should have been Summer Solstice Strength Spectacular.
S to the 4th.
Yes. So that'll be good. Let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about training. What are you doing? Like, what are you prepping for? Do you have a show on the books? You got the Colorado show, right?
Yeah. So on March 23rd, I'll be going to Colorado Springs for the Olympic City Pro-Am, and
it's a big show.
Yeah, it's a pretty big show. Like some of the pretty elite big dudes are going to be there. Gabe Pena, Josh Hatfield. And then in my weight class, I'm super stoked. I don't know if there's going to be any like OG looking into the history of strongman listeners, but if you are interested in strongman, I would highly recommend looking into who Zach McCarley is, and that's that's who I'm going to get to compete against. And I'm super excited.
Dude, I didn't know he was still even fucking competing.
Yeah, he fell off the face of the strongman thing for a while.
Yeah,
he I think got like a doctorate degree. He was just doing research and all that stuff, and then he came back to the scene to try to break the axle world record at Clash on the Coast. And
at 231? He's a 231 guy, yeah?
Yeah, 231. And unfortunately, he missed the weight. He wasn't training with a fixed axle, so it threw him off. And
it's different.
He had a real bad bicep injury, so this dude was Zercher.
That'll fuck your axle anyway.
He was Zercher cleaning. He would Zercher it to his belt and then bring one arm out, hike it up a little bit, and then bring the other arm out, and then try to clean it.
That's fucking
and with it
wild.
being a fixed axle, he couldn't bounce it right. And
so that makes sense.
Yeah, he didn't like train for that. So, but I was watching all of his train up and stuff, and he was hitting well over 400 for like with ease.
That's wild.
So
dude.
I'm super excited about that. It actually panned out perfectly. It's my little brother's spring break for high school. He's a sophomore in high school, and my dad told me that they were going to Colorado for spring break, and I was like, no shit. Yeah, I was like, I have a competition on the end of your guys' spring break. I was like, you want to sponsor me out there? So my dad.
Well, it'll be cool to have some friendly faces in the crowd.
Yeah, and then one of our old trainers, actually, name's Logan Thomas. He will be competing in the amateur event. He was one of our trainers, and we love that dude. And he ended up moving to Montana, doing some bigger, better things or whatever, just going and experiencing some stuff.
I like the internet joke that we have going that he's dead.
Yeah, I know. One of our members made a picture. It says "in loving memory," and we hung it up in our gym. People were like, "So
what happened to Logan?"
Yeah, we told him. He has a picture of him with a thumbs up next to some bison out in Montana.
We're like, yeah, I tried to fucking pet the buffalo and they gored him to death. They're like, really? We're like, no, he just fucking moved.
Yeah. No, it's. But yeah, that's what I'm training for.
When Winnie moves, I told her we're going to take a Polaroid over and stick it up there, and just on the bottom be like, she was okay.
I like that. What do you got coming up? You're doing strongman, and then a weekend later you're doing.
So on the 20th, I got a Mace seminar that I'm running up in Michigan.
Yeah.
And then the 27th is Ohio Valley's Strongest Man. It'll be fun. It's just an amateur show. I'm cutting weight. I'm not even really trained for it, but I already got my nationals bid, so I'm just going on there, and that's some cool events.
I thought you were doing 2 back-to-back, though.
So that'll be nationals.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I got this one. Then I'm going to do a powerlifting meet in April. Just do like push-pull. See what I can hit at a 242 weight class and realize how weak I am at that weight. And then vintage strength games, which I did last year. And one that's like it's like light strongman, and then a bunch of like mace and club swinging, which is my shit. I love that. That is like the first. It's like the 1st of June or whatever the very first weekend is, and then the next weekend is nationals out in Colorado for USS. But it's like a lighter show. The vintage strength games one is, so like I should be able to do that, just deload, and I should be fine for nationals. And I'm looking to win Masters.
Now, what do you get if you win Masters Nationals? Is that the end of the road, or do you
I don't
get?
know, I just swing my dick out and say I'm better than everybody.
I didn't know if
That's
they gave
old.
you like international bids for stuff, and I didn't know how big Masters class got because I know like
Yeah, I don't know.
OSG.
OSG's it's big. USS, I don't think we really get anything. I mean, maybe we do. I don't know. I just think it'd be cool to say I won nationals and vintage strength games like within a week of each other. And then I won powerlifting nationals a couple years back. So I don't know. I'm just trying to like, hey, I won some shit. I may be old and weak, but I'm the strongest old and weak fucker out there,
right?
Kind of things. But not OSG, because then I'd lose to like, Big Z and Mark Felix and people who are actually good at this stuff.
Yeah, because I know USS. I don't know how recent it was, but I was talking to Willie Wessels through email and asking him the the route to become a pro in that federation because
it's relatively new.
Yeah, I'm a strongman core pro, but I was like, why not double pro up? Because
if you can. Why not?
This isn't meant to be a knock, but Willie pays his pros, So I was asking him about
people
that.
go where the money is. That's why NFL athletes play football instead of do powerlifting, even though they'd fucking win every powerlifting
strongman,
record.
dude. You get someone like James Harrison come and do strongman, he would fuck everybody.
So there's this guy, Bryce Lewis is his name. He played NFL. He wasn't like a starter, but I think he was better than practice team. I forget where he played, but he's been competing strongman. He's like fairly local to Indiana here. And his first comp was Static Monsters like 3 years ago or whatever, and I got him. But he is like 6'5", like 330. So he's like a past his prime NFL guy, and he fucks everyone up now. Like it's not even close. So yeah, if you get those dudes in their prime, there's just every strength athlete is gonna be a little bitch. If the money was there to lure those people over, but it's not, so they just retire from the NFL and they still want to do shit, and then they still end up beating everybody.
Right.
So it just goes to tell you, like, just the level of genetic freak out there.
For sure. I can't remember where I was going to go with that. But, the pro circuit for USS. So we're in the works with Willie to become a USS affiliate gym.
Hell yeah.
And so I was asking him, what the pro thing was like, and I can hold premeditated health and performance can hold a pro show. We just the weights have to be
heavy enough,
10% over the heaviest weight class there. So whatever opens weights are, you just put them 10% higher, and that's the pro.
That's the pro level,
pro level right there.
Nice.
So, and then they place in the top, or they win that show, they get a bid to go international and then actually achieve their pro card. Same thing for nationals. If I were to go to nationals for USS, then
you'd be competing heavyweight, right?
Get the top. Right now, I technically qualify for 275. But
thanks, Static Monsters.
Right. And then you place top 3 at nationals, then they give you an international bid to go compete against the dudes that are trying to get their pro card.
And then the top 3 at that show get a pro card or something?
Correct. Nice. I think it's the top 3. It might be the winner, but
and that's one of the things I love. Like, I really enjoy powerlifting and strongman both. I got like one foot in each. Like I'm a good bencher, so I'm always gonna have a place in my heart for powerlifting.
Well, that's where you started too, right?
I started in strongman actually.
Okay.
I started CrossFit and then strongman, and then realized I was built a little better for powerlifting. But God, strongman, like the top tier is like, oh, you had to beat some fuckers to get here. Like at a local show, they'll combine classes so there's enough people to get nationals bids. Like if there's not enough people, no one gets a nationals bid. So they'll put the fucking 220s in there with the 275ers and say, sorry about you. Yeah.
And that's what happened to me at Static Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily I was just still able to beat
Fuck
the
you.
275 guys. That's my stance.
Fuck you. That's my stance. But then so compared to powerlifting where it's like, oh, we don't care if you're the only person who exists at the entire meet. As long as you total this number, you qualify. And it just, I don't know, it feels so fucking watered down. And now you could say that, like, it's not, though, because, like, the actual good pro-level powerlifting meets are invite only. And it's, like, what it takes to qualify for Worlds, you need, like, 500 pounds on your total to even come close to qualifying for any of those, So there's definitely levels, but it's like to get to nationals for strongman, you got to beat some fuckers. To get to nationals for powerlifting, you don't even have to beat anyone, and I think that sucks.
Yeah, for sure. And then once you get to nationals for like strongman core, in 2021, my wife competed against 42 other women and got second. So like that's when you have that many competitors, there is so much room for error in term of points because
half a second on the farmer's carry is 5th place.
Literally. And like, did that open?
No.
Oh, thank God. He dropped his gallon of water. I thought it popped open. That would have sucked so much. But yeah, dude, like you get first, you get 42 points. And then like Dan just said, if you're 3/4 of a second or a second slower on a wheelbarrow or yoke or farmers, or you miss one sandbag toss like my wife did, it detrimentally alters points. And then when I competed at Nationals in 2022, I was competing against 76 dudes.
Right.
And like I tied for first with one event, and then every other event I was just, my worst placing was 8th. But I ended up winning the show by like 7 points.
Just because there's so much shifting going on based on little
deadlift specialists,
tiny technical errors, you know?
Exactly. You got deadlift specialists that come in there and crush the deadlift, but then they can't move. So when they do the sandbag sled drag carry or whatever we were doing, you get first in the deadlift, but 32nd in the sandbag. So it's like you don't even have to worry about those dudes. You have to worry about the consistency. And that's what I love about strongman, because like
you have to be good at everything.
Yes. There's never an event, there's never a competition that have all the 5 same events. There's no such thing. I've never ever done the same thing. So that's what draws me so much to it, is because you got to show up, bring whatever strength you have, and then implement that strength into those events.
Right. So, I feel like there's such a big grit factor too. When people are always kind of talking to me, or whenever someone's being like, "What's powerlifting?" Okay, is that the Atlas Stone thing? I'm like, no, that's strongman. Wait, what's strongman? It's like people that don't know. It's like powerlifting is really a test of your 1 rep max, right? Like you get 3 attempts, hit your biggest single you can. Strongman is like, for the stationary events, I'd say it's like a test of your 5 rep max strength or 7 rep max strength, right? And then your ability to move. And that's kind of like the key difference, is there's just so much more like grit that you need in strongman, because it's like you want to put down that max distance carry Husafel stone, but like you don't have to. You can take another step, but you're a pussy, so you'll drop it, you know? Like that piece I feel like isn't there in powerlifting, because if you're going for like a 1 rep max, there's only so much level of grinding you can do. You know, it's never like you mentally gave up. It's like, you just couldn't fucking lift it. Yeah. It's just different.
And it's just, powerlifting for sure is a test of pure strength. Like Dan said, it's 1 rep max. How heavy can you go on this squat, bench, deadlift? But to me, strongman is the ultimate test of overall capability and like overall strength, because
it's like CrossFit for monsters.
Exactly. Like exactly. You'll sometimes have in one competition a max event like a deadlift. Then you'll have sandbag throw over a bar, which tests your explosiveness, your rate of force development. Right. And then you have, a log clean and press for reps. So now you're testing your conditioning while still being strong, because it's never fucking light.
Right.
It's like, hey, how many times can you press 300 for reps?
Yeah, it's like muscle endurance, but it's like muscle endurance with like your 2 rep max. It's crazy.
So, yeah, dude. And then it's just like Dan said, sometimes there's max carry. Like in our competition, we're doing a max sandbag carry. We're going to see a lot of people
give up on that before they need to.
Big time. And that's just,
your ability to suffer is like, in my opinion, the most important thing in strongman.
Yeah. And I have respect for all the sport. I mean, we have an Olympic lifter here, Shelby, and
and Adrian too.
Yeah. And I thoroughly enjoy watching her train, just because it's like the technique and the focus and like
it's different. Yeah.
It's so just tuned in. And then, you got your CrossFitters.
I'll get her to fucking do a strongman show.
Yeah, dude, she's loving it. She's loading sandbags, carrying them. She's digging it. I know she is. But we have a marker board. We wrote, what are your goals for 2024? And hers was like, don't miss snatch or something like that. So she's all in on the Olympic lifting.
Yeah, her thirds on snatch have been killing her the last few meets.
Yeah. So, but definitely want to get something like that in the works as well, because I just love that sport, and I just love anything strength sports do. That's why I'm in this business.
Dude, yeah. Yeah, we want to be the strength sport destination more than just like the strongman gym or whatever. And we kind of are the strongman gym, because we got like a resident middleweight pro. I compete in strongman. This year is like heavy strongman for me, but probably 2025 will be like powerlifting year for me. Yeah, I need to get in that lane, since you're for sure the strongman lane. So
I mean, if you like walk into our gym, you 100% know it's powerlifting strongman focused. We have a whole wall full of just strongman stuff. We got like 5 logs, fucking.
5, are we selling that damn bent Titan one?
Yeah.
Sell it for like $50.
Yeah. The rackable one.
Yeah.
But no, I love it all. And outside of like the physical training,
dude, how did you find? Sorry,
go ahead.
How did you find strongman? Because like you were military, you were doing that stuff.
Yeah,
and then,
I used to watch like with my dad, right? Like back in the day when Brian Shaw was young, like I'd watch it then, and I knew what it was. I just never knew there were weight classes. Yeah,
as a
I
normal person.
Never knew there's weight classes. And so when I was at Fort Campbell, the Gold's gym there had a 10-inch log.
Oh hell yeah!
And I was like,
had a Gold's? Dang.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna go mess with that. And as soon as I started messing with it, I was like, yep. I was always into how strong can I be? Like,
right.
I was on a deployment in Iraq, and Lieutenant Charette was lifting in there one day, and he was doing bent over rows strict with 405.
Fuck.
And this dude was a monster. And I was like, sir, I want to lift and do what you're doing. I was like, what do I need to do? And he was like, well, I got one question for you. He's like, do you want to look good naked, or do you want to be strong as fuck? And I was like, I want to be strong as fuck. He's like, all right,
that's the only right answer if that's your goal there.
Here's a book called The 5-3-1 Method. Read that. I was like, okay. Started reading it, and I was like, all right. So I just started squat, bench, deadlifting, trying to get strong, overhead press. And I took to overhead press so fast. Like, I wrestled for 12 years, so with that, I had a very deep understanding of how to use my hips for, like, power.
Right.
So, because I was just constantly throwing people. Humans, like
right.
175, 190-pound humans, like throwing them. So whenever I started overhead pressing, I would be lifting with my buddies, and they're like struggling with 95, 115 pounds, and I'm like at 225 within the first couple weeks of doing overhead press.
Christ.
And they're like, how the fuck do you do that? And like, I was the only one that was like push pressing. I was using
you were push pressing. You weren't like strict.
Right. I was using my dip and drive, and like really figuring out how to use my hips. And I was like, you gotta generate power from the floor.
Yep.
And as I started learning more and more and more, like I was like, I tapped into something before I ever knew what the fuck I was even doing.
Yep.
And then
and being able to hit that push press leading into a push jerk kind of motion, like just starting out, you're miles ahead of fucking everybody, because people take a long time to figure out that like kinetic chain, you know, the order of operations. You know, they'll stand up all the way and lose all the power and then start pressing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to teach a couple clients right now.
Yeah, it's tricky for people.
I dumbed it down to thrusters with a kettlebell for one of them, and she started understanding it pretty quick.
Right.
But to answer your question fully, I was on a deployment in Africa, in Djibouti, and
I'm a child.
No, it's funny every time. I laugh in my head. But they had this really nice, we called it the clamshell because it was this big, just dome gym.
Okay.
And we were there. It's a naval base. And so the Navy EOD was there, and those dudes are savages. They're fucking all jacked and just...
What's EOD?
EOD is like the guys that go out and deal with like ordinances, like the bombs. If there's a bomb out there, like an IED or whatever, they go out there, they cordon the area,
disable the bomb
with the bomb suit and all that kind of shit.
Fuck.
So our AO, which is our area of operation, was right by their compound, and their compound had this big chain link fence with like tarp on it, so you couldn't really see in it. There were little slivers, and I heard them blaring Slipknot one day, and I walked down there, and I'm like peeking through, and I see these dudes just like loading Atlas stones on this platform, like throwing sandbags over their shoulders, and I'm like,
just some man shit.
So I see one of the dudes at the gym on the treadmill, and he's just walking, listening to probably Joe Rogan, and he had this shirt that said Florida's Strongest Man on it, and I was like,
oh shit, yeah.
Hey dude, what is that? How do I do that? Where do I go? What do I do? And he gave me the Strongman Core website, USS website. He just started feeding me all this information, invited me over to their compound, and I got to lift a little bit with Strongman there. As soon as I got back from that deployment, it was off to the races. I was trying to become as good as I could, as fast as I could, and I tried to try out for the Army fitness team and go do Strongman and stuff, what Justin was on.
Yep.
And
is that still around, or did that die?
I think it's still a thing.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure. I think they're more like CrossFit,
Not really the strongman piece as much.
marathon runners.
Thought I
and stuff
remembered
like
hearing about
so
the strongman piece dying a little bit.
Right. When Justin Loy and Dan Hughes were there, they were kind of like the black sheep of the crowd because they were the most fucking successful dudes.
Yeah, they were the most fucking savage assholes too.
Yeah, dude. And they were the only pros on the team. They were the only ones doing high level, winning nationals, like dominating. And so like, I don't know why the Army wouldn't take, because like if you think about what strongman is, like that's what I want my soldiers to be like.
Yeah,
if I'm
fucking
a commander,
strong as shit savages that can still move. Like
I'm a commander, I don't care.
I want a whole fucking battalion of those fuckers.
Like if you can run for 2 miles straight without stopping, that checks the box for me.
Yep.
Can you pick a Humvee up off me?
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, we don't got to run a fucking marathon, guys. We have vehicles.
We have vehicles.
We're going to pull up, and then we're going to get out. We're going to fuck shit up for about 100 meters, and that's about it.
Exactly, 100 meters. That's exactly right. Because, like, there's never been a time in combat where you travel more than 100 meters at a time.
Yeah.
And it's mostly a hop up, sprint, and duck behind some more cover. Like,
yep.
So the need for
long, slow, steady state is like zero.
Right. It's good to have because, like, it's
good for
general fitness and recovery and everything. But, like, I wish there wasn't as big of a focus on it.
If you're in a bar fight, do you want like fucking you or me with you, or do you want like a champion marathon runner with you?
Yeah, that's
no fucking way.
No
fucking way. You're 120 pounds and you can jog fast. Congratulations. Here's a beer bottle to the side of your head. Like, it's just not a thing that works.
Either a big strongman looking dude or a motherfucker with cauliflower ear.
Yeah, right?
That's what I'm looking for. So, but no, dude, I think just my whole life was kind of just meant for this. I think from a young age, I took to the weights, and I remember being a freshman. I was kind of, me and you talked about this previously, like getting bullied and shit and getting just asshole dudes that would come and try to fuck with you and test your manhood. And I remember being a kid and getting fucked with all the time, and this dude who lived across the alley from me would always fuck with me. And by the time I got to high school, I was a freshman, he was a senior, and all it took for him was to see me deadlift, and he was like, yep, never mind.
I'm good.
I'm not fucking with him.
I was, I did, you ever heard of Tony Blauer? You know who that is?
No.
Okay, so he was big in the CrossFit world. He was big in like law enforcement, defensive tactics world for a long time, and still is. Worked with some military stuff too. It's the spear system is his thing.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, he made the Blauer suit.
Yeah, the hard suits or whatever, the hit suit or whatever this called.
Army combatives.
Hard gear, I think. Yeah. So that's him, and he's fucking badass. I love Tony Blauer, and I was like one of their instructors for a little bit because you can get certified, and is badass. Their stuff's cool because it's not like learn these moves. It's all scenario based. It's like you're in a chair, the attacker's gonna come from behind you and fucking try to strangle you. Figure this shit out. Like that's how training should be for like law enforcement, martial art, like. For actual combat, like that's the best system I've ever fucked with.
Right.
But he had a thing came out for civilian use. That's a really good program. I think I have the DVDs somewhere. Called "Be Your Own Bodyguard." And one of the things he would always say is like, bullies are dangerous cowards. Criminals are dangerous cowards. Like a coyote doesn't run around and be like, "Wow, that wolf looks like it could kick my ass. I'm gonna go pick a fight." Like, they're dangerous, but, like, they're looking for the fucking chihuahua, you know? They ain't looking for the lion. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing with bullies, too. And it's like, they'll pick on you, and if you don't react and you carry yourself with, like, low confidence and you look like a fucking target, then you're a fucking target. If you walk around with good posture, you look like you lift. Like, the only people that ever fuck with me is when I was a bouncer, and it's like the drunk little guy trying to start shit. You know, me just walking around as a normal person at a bar or anywhere, like, no one fucks with me. I'm 260 pounds and I'm fucking jacked, you know? Like, It's not a thing that happens because bullies are dangerous fucking cowards, but they're cowards, and people miss that piece.
True.
You don't have to win the fight. You just have to show that you're willing to fucking go, right. And people won't mess with you.
No, and you and I both know, like, if someone's truly an alpha, they're not fucking with
people. They ain't chirping.
They're protecting, you know? Funny enough, we were watching Beethoven with my son the other night, and there's a scene in there where the son of that family is getting fucked with at school. And I looked at my son, I was like, hey, if you or any of your buddies ever get treated like that, you punch that motherfucker in the nose. And he looked at me. I was like, and then when they fall down, you say, fuck you. And he was just like, okay, Dad. So I'm probably going to have a couple principals call me later in life, but
that's fine.
As long as my son's not wanting to kill himself because someone said his fucking shirt's stupid. Like,
or also as bad as like he gets picked on so long and he lashes out by fucking shooting everybody at the school. Like those are kind of the two options, you know?
So
it's crazy.
Standing your ground and knowing who you are. Yeah, for sure.
And you may lose a fight, but I mean, if people know you're willing to swing back, they'll stop trying to fucking fight you because people don't like getting hit.
So you switched gears earlier. I kind of want to switch. I keep looking at this book you got on your desk.
Oh yeah.
So one of the things that I tapped into when I started getting like what kind of pushed me through the ceiling. Like I felt like I was always telling my wife, like, why am I just knocking on the door? I'm just like, I'm constantly right outside the bubble. Like, or I'm on the bubble, you know, like these dudes that are competing at the high level, I'm there with them, but it's like I'm knocking on the door and no one will fucking answer. And until
it's like you want to be top 10, you're just chilling at 11th, always.
And it was, and what it was you had to get top 3 to qualify, and I was always 4th, or I was always 5th.
Right.
And I'm like, what the fuck am I missing? Like, my training is pretty much on point. I got coaches doing that for me. I've had nutrition coaches.
Nutrition's good.
Training coaches. Like, those are like, what am I missing? And it's like the mental toughness piece. The why am I doing this? That like air quotes spiritual realm. Like why?
Yep.
You know, when you're on your own, it's 5 a.m. in the morning. You wake up and you're looking at yourself in the mirror, brushing your teeth. It's like, why did I get out of bed? Why am I going to do this day?
Why am I going to suffer through the shit I'm going to have to suffer through today?
Why are you doing this? And it's like, to me, that once you find that out and once you hone that, Logan, the one that moved to Montana, him and I had numerous talks when we were here about that kind of shit. And
God, I wish that fucker didn't move.
Dude. His way of describing it was calm confidence, and just like,
dude, that's like his entire being is that, dude. Man.
And I was doing some studying earlier, doing a class on motor development and skill learning for college, and it showed me this graph, and it was upside down U, and the x-axis of the graph was arousal, and then the y-axis was performance. When arousal's low, your performance is low. When arousal's moderate, your performance is the highest it'll be. And when your arousal's too high, your performance is low.
Yep.
So, like, how many times have you seen those dudes that get, like, way too fucking amped up and then make a silly mistake?
Well, and then especially if you're competing, it's like they may be great for that event, but you just blew your fucking load, and there's 3 more events in this strongman show. Yeah. Like, I pride myself on, like, the 5th event, I will still be fucking crushing you.
Yep. And it's just because you can compose a little bit better, and like
you gotta have the switch. It has to turn on, but like you gotta be able to fucking flip the switch and turn it off too, or you'll just be gone.
So Dan and I have actually competed around each other 3 times, but only knowingly did it once.
I didn't even. Oh yeah, so Static Monsters. Yeah.
But every time I compete, and Dan can maybe talk on this too. Whenever I compete, people always ask me like, "Dude, how do you stay so like calm?" And I'm like, because I save it all for that exact moment,
right?
Especially at Static Monsters, because I had to do 3 heavy attempts for deadlift and log lift. So like, I saved it all for that exact moment. And like Dan said,
we compete very similarly too.
The flipping of the switch, like Sylvester Stallone turning his hat backwards in the arm wrestling,
right, over the top. Great fucking movie.
So like that moment, you just got to be able to understand that you don't have to be on for 24/7 during the show.
Well, and I remember, so I'd have similar conversations at competitions because we both compete well. Like, I mean, you've been competing at a higher level than me. I like to pretend it's because I just never wanted to go middleweight, but it's because you're better than me. And but I'd have that conversation as well because there was a string of like 5 years where I didn't lose a fucking show unless it was like nationals, you know, and they'd be like, same idea. Why are you so chill? And I was like, dude, I did professional fighting. This is just lifting weights, dude. Like, no one's coming to fucking kill me and put me in the hospital. Like, I'm just lifting weights, homie. It ain't that big. Yeah. Like, it's not that big a deal. And I feel like, similarly, if you think about it, yours is probably similar to that too. You're like, you wrestled. That's a much higher risk thing. You were in the fucking army. You got deployed. You're in, like, a fucking war. Like, lifting weights, like, it's cool, but it ain't that stressful compared to shit you did before. And I think it's all about perspective. And people where it's like the coolest, most crazy thing they've ever done is a powerlifting meet have a hard time fucking chilling at the powerlifting meet because that's the pinnacle of their arousal, right? Is a lifting competition. So they just need to have done stupider shit.
Right.
And then they'd be fine.
Yeah. Live a little, you assholes.
Go get in some trouble to where you could die, and this will be totally fine for you.
Exactly. No, but I think that's a big piece a lot of people miss. And now you start seeing, you have your strength and conditioning coaches, you have your dietitians, your nutritionists, you have your physical therapists and stuff like that. But I think coming to the market very soon, it's already here.
Sports psychology is starting to be huge.
The mindset coaching and do you even know how to sit down and write some goals out and then take steps to achieve them?
Right.
Do you even know how to properly not relieve your stress, but de-escalate yourself after a training session or after a day of stressful events,
Right.
So, yeah, dude, I think it's all encompassing. And then the emotional intelligence piece, I actually wrote the ebook. That's
Hell yeah.
what you were telling me. That's a good little.
That's a big
right
piece
there.
that no one ever thinks about, and the sleep piece, I feel like is becoming more common knowledge. But the how your life stress will impact your training and recovery, I think is a piece that
dude, there'll be moments in time
people don't know.
Right, there'll be moments in time when I'm training, and if my mind starts to wander and I start stressing about if I got to pay a bill or something, I will stop that training session. Because I know it's not going to go good after that.
No, you're going to suck the rest of the whole fucking session.
All right, today, that's it. Sometimes the biggest win is being this. I'm just going to live to fight another day.
Yeah.
And be okay with that, not let it fucking snowball into something terrible,
Cool. Well, you got a client coming in. Let's bring this bad boy in for a landing. We'll be doing more. We're going to get one of these out every week if it fucking kills us, here for a while at least. Where can people find you, Tyler, on the IG?
So on Instagram, it's at premeditated movement, and then the gym is at premeditated HP
_HP.
_HP.
And then you can always find me at strongman _Dan. And I have been posting my training, which is just fucking asshole heavy CrossFit, essentially, on my Snapchat, which will be strongmandan88. I post that daily, so if y'all want some shit to try, there you go.
It's free programming.
It's free programming. Just write it down and sell it to clients and pretend like you fucking made it up, you dickheads. So yeah, we will be back next week. We'll get this bad boy posted up here probably tomorrow, and we'll keep rocking. Keep tuning in.